Hey, welcome to Old Ass Movie Reviews. I'm Scott, and there's Dave above me, and we are going into 1976, is it?
I
For this
believe so.
movie? So, 1976 sci-fi
So
Logan's Run. Starring, you'll have to tell me, Dave, you probably have the cast up.
it is starring Michael York
Michael York, yes.
as Logan, Jenny Agutter as
Mm.
Jessica, Richard Jordan, who is always one of my favorite character actors of the day, plays Francis. In this man's voice and his acting, I've always loved. I really wish they
Mhm.
would have had a different costume for him. Was a guy named Roscoe Lee Brown as Box, the big android cyborg thing.
Yes.
I just wish they would have had a better costume for him. I understand why they did it the way they did it because I'm going to take a wild guess and say it's like the description from the book. I don't know. I haven't read the book.
I think it looked to me like they ran out of money, but we'll get to that part.
Would have been running out of money. Farrah Fawcett as Holly. This is one of her first movies, if I'm not
Mm.
mistaken. It's one of her first big movies. Michael Anderson Jr. as Doc, and the man, the myth, the legend, Peter Ustinov as the old man.
Oh, what a
There are
great
other
character.
actors that are smaller parts that I have seen in other movies and other things of this time period, but that's pretty much the cast. The director was Michael Anderson.
Mhm.
I'm trying to think of what the heck. They don't give him a list of anything else he's done, but I know he's done other things.
Oh, I'm sure after this.
The
This,
writing
yeah,
credits go to, I'm sorry, real quick.
no, go
David
ahead.
Selig Goodman did the screenplay based on the book by William F. Nolan and George Clayton Johnson. And take it away, Scott.
All right. No, anyway, sorry. I didn't know how far we were going down the cast list, but thank you. Yeah, there's a lot of recognizable faces in here.
Right.
This movie is a futuristic movie set in, I forget what year, 22,
The 23rd century.
so the 2200s. And it's all a society that is self-enclosed, it's efficient, it's running itself basically, powered by the seawater. We don't find out later until about the food.
Computer operated.
AI controlled. Here
Yeah.
is an AI movie. I wasn't expecting that. I saw this movie a long time ago, enough to know, yeah, I've seen it, but that's all I could tell you. It's like, yeah, I saw it, and I would recognize the jumpsuit anywhere.
I
But
still want to wear one of those to a Comic Con. I know
absolutely,
I'm
yeah,
outdated. I should have been dead already, but
you should have went on the carousel.
yeah,
Um,
get the little white crystal.
yeah. So the way this society is developed is they die at age 30, and under a mythology of being reborn, which they're not.
Let's get it straight. They're killed at age 30.
They're killed at age 30, but they think it is a religious experience, and they have been indoctrinated into this since birth. So our main characters are in their mid-20s. So they still have a few years left. I think Logan has 4 years left. Well, at the beginning, and then he has nothing at the end. But so they have all this time of being fed this narrative that they all believe, they all go into it. And I'm watching the beginning. The movie opens up with what's called the carousel, and this is where all the people who have turning 30 are killed. They are just killed, but it's done in a way with the crowd cheering. And dude, I was sitting here and it's like, this is going on a long time. I'm uncomfortable. And it's like, bingo, I'm supposed to be uncomfortable with all these people cheering all this death. And it's like,
why they dragged it out that way.
And it's like, well done, well done.
Yes. And you're applauding suicide at that point.
Pretty much.
What does that sound like they're trying to pull now? A lot of similarities. And again, this is another movie that we didn't look for similarities, but I see some similarities of what people are saying now that, oh, this is the way it should be, as opposed to what it was 20 years ago when somebody said, no, you can't. Why would you do that? It's just, the way they're going to move. And it's weird. Like you said, it's very uncomfortable to watch that.
It is an uncomfortable movie. The AI is is interesting. I was shocked to find out this is an AI movie, and it's like, here we go again. But
Right.
what's interesting is I would like to have seen this society change to where it is, how it got to where it was with the 30
Right.
years, because I got a feeling that didn't happen overnight. There was a show a while back called oh my god, I can't remember, something Pines, Whispering Pines, or it it dealt with a group of people who froze themselves basically and then started
Right.
to thaw out thousands of years into the future when whatever was left of humanity had evolved into monsters.
Oh.
And they were in a small contained city. Sounds of crickets and birds were pumped in on a loop to make everybody feel
Oh.
like they were in all of that. And it kind of had one of these type of feels. So it was kind of an interesting story, but this one was unexpected,
Mhm.
really well done.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was concerned at first how Logan was going to turn, you
Yeah.
know, and it's like there's no way they're going to turn him, but the AI did. So
Forced
gave
his
him no
hand.
choice.
Forced his hand. Put him.
Literally.
Boom. Uh,
Yeah.
the thing I liked about this is they didn't jump Logan from one thing to another because, as you see in the end of the movie, what happens to somebody when the truth just explodes in their face. Logan is already questioning things. He's got his
Hmm.
friend Francis, who he's his partners. He's a Sandman, and the Sandman are the people who go after what they call a runner.
Hmm.
Runners are people who have turned 30 and they don't want to go to Carousel. They want to get out of the city, which is this huge dome city,
It
probably bigger than New York. It's a big,
Probably
big city, and the
it's
dome is
bigger than
huge.
it lets on. When they I got to
Yeah,
talk about this real quick. I texted you the models in this movie are amazing.
yeah,
That miniature set of a city that is moving and everything is a sight to be seen. It is
crazy.
beautiful.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. And then we go inside the shopping mall that was probably used in Ice Pirates.
The shopping mall was a brand new mall that hadn't been used yet. I do know that much, and I
Ah,
I think it was in California. And Battle for the Planet of the Apes did this a similar thing with a brand new uh,
that's
city with this
brilliant.
like apartment complex area. That's where all that stuff happens in Battle of the Planet of the Apes.
Oh,
It's the
wow.
same thing with this. This was a huge shopping
That's a
mall,
great idea.
and before they opened any shops, they filmed a movie
I was like,
there.
this looks like a shopping mall.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, but then back then, that was all futuristic. Nobody had,
It was, but and that's just it. We grew up in that time, but the mall was futuristic. It was
yeah,
bright. It was
it was
all of
meant
these
to be.
things. Yes, and that's how this kind of looked when they showed it. And it's like, oh, interesting.
Right, right. Um, the Where was I? I forgot what I
So,
was talking about. They were anyway. The Sandmen are the people who go hunt
right,
down the 30
runners.
somethings that are trying to run, the runners, and they're trying to get to a place called Sanctuary. So you have Logan who's talking. He goes to see his. He's Logan 5. Um, what's his name is Logan 5. Michael York is Logan 5.
Mm.
He goes to visit the brand new baby, Logan 6. It's just this little baby in a crib. He's trying to get its attention. His friend comes up and goes, "What are you doing here at the infancy thing? What
Yeah.
do you?" I just wanted to see the kid. He goes, "Why?" He goes, "Well, haven't you ever wondered what the next one's going to look like?" And he's like, "No, I've never even thought about that." He goes, "Yo, tell me you're going to think about the seed mother." He goes, "God," and
Yeah.
Logan's like, "God, no, why would I do that? I just want to see the kid." But Logan is already questioning, like,
He
what
is.
what's going on? There's a bigger thing. Well, I don't understand what's going on. Why do we have to? I think he even asks his friend, like, why do we have to end our life at 30?
Hmm.
And his friend's like, well, that's just the way we do it. That's you're being renewed. You have to die to let another one live. And this and that, and you're reborn. And he actually asks him later on
Do
after
you
his
know anybody who's
encounter,
been reborn? Yeah.
have you ever met anybody? Do you know anybody who's been renewed? And his friend just looks at him for a second and goes back underwater. He's like, because he's at the jacuzzi. He just goes underwater, thinking that when he comes up, Logan's just going to be forgotten, jumping in the jacuzzi and hanging out. And Logan just turns around and walks away.
Yeah. If I want to talk about that moment, this is a pivotal moment. This is a moment that I think Logan had an opportunity and he tried. He tried to
Yeah.
talk to Francis. He really wanted to let his friend in on it. And I think had they been able to talk, he might have been able to have swayed him. But Francis works as the person who acts exactly how somebody who's been indoctrinated for that many years under a system. He's very predictable. He is not, you are not going to convince him. He's going to have to see with his own eyes. And that's how a lot of people are. And that's what this movie really shows.
And even then, when you see it with your own eyes,
you question it.
Are you strong enough to accept it and go, I've changed my thinking? I know in my personal life, I've come across stuff that I had. My mindset was one way, one way, one way. I would tunnel vision. I had the blinders on, one way. And some of the stuff you and I have talked about that's made me widen my, my
likewise.
view.
Yeah.
And then other things, somebody else has said something to me and I've looked up and I've gone into and I've gone, holy crap, I was freaking wrong. I mean, not just wrong, but I'm embarrassingly so wrong about something. And so you have to be open-minded enough to say,
absolutely,
I was wrong, or I wasn't as right as I thought I was, but I see what's going on, kind of thing. And that's when you have nothing else, when you don't read, because these people don't read books.
No, they are fed.
They're taught.
They are fed a diet of how to think, how to believe, how to breed, how everything. They keep them occupied with these orgies and other things going on, and it's they can dial a hooker at a push of a button, and it's that's all by design.
Yeah.
So think about that a little bit. Just think about that.
And at first, what's funny, the great thing about this movie is it takes what looks like on the surface a utopia. And very quickly you see this beautiful utopia. Everybody's young and beautiful.
Really cool.
Everybody's thin and sexy. And then all of a sudden you go just a little bit under the layer and you realize there's some people that are really unhappy about what's going on. And those are the runners. Those are the people that are about to turn 30 that know they're going to have to run.
They've been in hiding for a while too. Yeah. And so it's, and this movie is one of those that if you go in and watch it, it's going to take a while to dissect everything you've seen because it is allegory for society in so many ways about so many different concepts and social castes and and religion and science and just, I got to jump ahead to when they do get out and you see the city. It's Washington, D.C. I thought that was really, really cool. And it's like, wow, okay, so they're on Earth. That's neat. And they find Peter Ustinov.
They were still on Earth?
I didn't know where they were. I didn't know where it was. I had no idea. So that was like, oh, interesting. So as a first time watcher, but the old man with the cats. Well, so not only had they never seen anybody over 30, this guy's in his 70s and he's surrounded by cats. Never saw a cat. But I know I jumped to that, but we can definitely back up to the frozen area and other parts of the movie because that was near the end when they get out. But I like how this movie, as I said, you'll be thinking about it for a while.
Yeah.
Because there's so much there. There is so much message in this movie, and never once is it swinging it. And that's
why beautiful. It works.
Beautiful.
Real quick, we'll catch you up to where they're in the frozen zone with no singing. Logan is, like I said, he's a Sandman. He kills people. Him and his partner Francis, they get a runner. They chase him down. They kill the runner. And this is a really cool machine that they have. It's like a hover stand, okay?
A foam acid foam. And
and if nobody's ever read the old Dick Tracy, they had these things that look like flying garbage cans.
Ah,
This thing kind of looks like that. It flies over the dead body. It sprays this foamy mist thing on the body, and the body dissolves into nothing within what 30 seconds.
yeah,
The
yeah.
carousel was letting out by the people. By the time the people got from the entrance to where this guy's dead body was, everything was dried and gone. It just dissolves it to nothing.
Yeah. And they're so
Well,
nonchalant about that. That's
yeah,
that. Here's the thing. It's like, oh, it's just a runner. It's just a
yeah,
runner
we're
because
gonna
that's
kill
how
him.
they've
He's
been
a runner.
taught.
But Logan, the guy's got something in his hand, and Logan like pries the hand open. He takes it out. It's a cross. It's an ankh,
Hmm.
which I think, if I'm not mistaken, was a
An Egyptian symbol, isn't it?
an Egyptian symbol. I'm sorry, I got to go. The dog, the one dog that doesn't growl is growling something.
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry
Okay.
about that. Had to go check on a dog that was growling at nothing. Growling at fairies, probably. Uh,
Could be.
um, but he gets this stuff. He takes whatever personal stuff the guy's got, and when he's going into debriefing, he sets it on this table. This little thing spins around, scans everything, and then it just generally either dissolves it or saves it.
Yeah, I'm
Transports
not
it
sure
somewhere
exactly
else.
what
I'm not
happens
sure
to
what
it.
happened
Yeah.
there. But Francis, you see Francis go in, he puts his little crystal, they got these crystals on their hand, which tells them how old they are. They're like four different colors, tells them what vein of life they're in. Puts his hand on there, his stuff gets disintegrated, he leaves. Logan's turn to go get debriefed. He puts his stuff on there, and the machine's spinning, it's scanning everything, and then the computer starts talking to him. Something tells me that generally the machine never asks you much.
Yeah,
And
it seems like it.
when it started talking to Logan and asking him questions, he was like, what?
Yeah,
He's
because
like
it's
kind of
like
looking
that had
around
never
like,
happened.
yeah, he's looking around like, is the machine actually talking to me? And it's like, okay, now you got to come over here and sit down. We want to talk, basically, is what the computer's telling him. He sits down and it starts asking him about the stuff that he found. Does he know what sanctuary is? Does he know this? And Logan's like, I have no idea what you're
I
talking
don't even know the word.
Yeah, I
I
don't
don't even
know
know
the
what the word
word.
means.
I don't know the symbol. Well, the computer says, well, we want you to take that cross, that symbol, that ankh. Want you to go find sanctuary. You got to go outside. And Logan's like, what? I can't go outside. What? I no. And in the meantime, his hand is on this resting spot where he kind of plugs it in with his
Hmm.
crystal to be scanned. Well, whatever the computer does, it like turns the crystal off and it affects him physically. I'm guessing chemically you're linked to this thing. So his
Yeah.
crystal is all of a sudden red and blinking, which means he's over 30 now and he's a runner. And he's like, I got like 4 more years. Do I get these years back? And the
No
computer goes
answer.
silent.
Yeah.
It shows him what his mission is on the screen, and that's it. And he's like, "Wait, I get my time back, right? If I come back,
Yeah.
if I go out and destroy Sanctuary, I get my time back, right?" Silence. The computer screen finally just shuts off on him, and
Yeah.
he's like, "Shit." He's got to run. I mean, basically, the computer gave him no option.
Yep.
So he's got to run. He's met this girl the night before, 2 nights before, Jessica. He goes to find her again. He finds her. He's like, "You got to help me. I gotta get out of here."
She is wearing an ankh around her neck, and he
Right.
remembers that. And
Mhm.
that in the meantime, though, Francis has wondered why it took Logan so long, so he was already suspicious and
Right.
decides to start following him. Yeah,
Right.
it
Because he knows there's something not right with his friend. He's like, just in a matter of time.
but the whole time I'm like, if you'd let him talk, you asshole. He tried to talk to you.
Guy plays a good asshole too, man.
He does. He plays it really well. So you have this whole cat and mouse from this
Yeah.
point forward.
Yeah.
You have the two good friends who are now unknowingly have become enemies,
Yeah.
and it's
Logan's not really aware of it for the most
he's
part.
not for a long time.
Yeah. Uh, so Logan and his girlfriend, sidekick, whatever you want to call it, because they're not boyfriend girlfriend yet. She's just
Yet.
helping him get out of the city. She's trying to get him to run. They get through. She gets a little bit of help. Logan thinks she's taking him to Sanctuary.
Mhm.
Right before they have to run away. He's in this like underground nothing. It's like cobwebs and black and it just looks like a sewer plant. And they're like, well, you got to go this way. You go down the tunnel, hang a right. You got to go down. Just keep going down. You go down. He's like, this. He's already hit a secret button on his palm that alerts all the Sandmen to come to his location.
Yeah.
He thinks he's found sanctuary. He's going to destroy it so he can get his time back. That's all he wants now. And they're like, you got to keep going. He's like, this isn't sanctuary. They're like, no, we don't know where sanctuary is. You got to go that way. So he's like, shit. And he looks at Jesse. He's okay. You got to get out of here. You got to get out of here now. And by the time he's trying to get somebody to get her out of there so she doesn't get hurt, all the cops come blowing through the door. Yep. I mean, shit, blasters. I mean, it's fucking rampage. He's like, son of a bitch. Yeah. So him and the girl take off. They finally get to where there's like the air conditioning unit, right? Is that what that
Something
was?
like that. Yeah.
It's like the air circulation and it's air conditioning. So everything's frozen solid. It's just this big cold area. And it's creepy because I think that's where all the runners wound up. Anybody who actually made it that far didn't get out. I don't think
that's
anybody got out.
That's as far as they made it, was the impression I got.
Yeah.
And they were being kept on cold storage.
Literally. And they were being kept on ice.
Yeah.
It's just hallways and hallways of these people. And they're stacked like what, 4 to 6 high?
Yeah, there's tons of them.
And there's like other hallways just all going off in different directions. And Logan's like, he's figuring it out like, oh shit, these are all the runners. Oh shit, this thing's gonna freeze us.
And that's where
you can
the
see
money
his
ran
eyes,
out.
like he's figuring it out, like, shit.
And that's where the budget ends.
Yeah, for the most part, right?
This robot is poor. There's no way around it. This is one of the worst robots I've seen on screen.
This is what makes me think it was maybe supposed to be. Man, something tells me they thought that thing looked better on screen than it really did. And something tells me in my head that they were trying to make a cyborg, like trying to make it human and robot. And this is it's gonna work. It's gonna be great. Star Wars had robots.
Yeah, good ones.
It doesn't work. And like I said, Roscoe Lee Brown, such a good actor.
Yeah.
They should not have covered his face. They should have allowed him. I don't know how you would have done it. I don't know. The guy had a great smile. He could have been so enchanting to these guys, and it could have just thrown them completely off.
Maybe in 1976, a robot looking like that would be really scary. But for me, it was laughable. I would have died laughing if that thing came out. I will freeze you. Like,
right. Yeah, like, really?
Really? Bruh, you serious?
But then you have to look at the Daleks from Doctor Who, and you go, well, one could take out a planet.
Yeah, well, a Dalek is at least solid. This was some tinfoil and some cardboard.
Yeah, it looked real.
Dude, it was bad. It was bad. But I'll forgive the movie for that.
Yeah. That's probably the worst special effect. But Roscoe Lee Brown's voice and his voice acting over that, I think is superb. I think that almost, not quite, and I don't forgive everything, but it almost saves that robot.
Almost. Not quite. Not quite. Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Once you get over the initial shock of how bad it is, it's okay.
Yeah. Just go with it. You're just like, okay, got it.
This is bad. Moving on.
They run out. They finally get out to where they're going to the outside, and that's probably one of my favorite scenes in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
They're walking through this big freaking cave, basically. And they come out, and the sun is just coming up. They've never seen it.
What is it?
They don't know what the hell the sun is. And Logan puts his hand out, like, as the sun's coming up. First, he's covering his eyes. And then he's like, hey. He puts his hand out, and he's like, it's warm. Like, they don't know what the sun is. And that, for
No.
me, the first time I remember seeing this movie, that to me was the moment where I realized these people don't know anything.
Anything.
They're not taught common sense. They're not taught anything. And I realized the old man, for as crazy as he is, they could learn a ton of shit from him because he's got to make his own food. He's got to prep his own plants. He knows what to eat. He knows what animals to hunt. He's the smartest guy on the planet as far as we know at this point. And you
Correct.
see, he's a total madman. Right?
Mm-hmm.
They find the statue of Lincoln. I thought was really cool.
That was cool. That was cool.
The,
And because like he looks so different. Oh, that's what an old person looks like. That's what's cool about this movie. I mean, you go right in there and at least I felt like I was there with them. It's so well done. So well done.
Yeah. I agree. It's such a good movie. And like we were saying earlier, it's well written. I mean, the acting in this is top notch. Francis is still hunting them. He's still coming. He's just like five steps behind them, really, basically. They're running, they're still running, they're trying to get to Sanctuary. He's hunting them at night. She at one point is walking, and she's like hitting bugs and stuff, and she's like freaking, she's just totally having a meltdown finally.
Well, yeah.
They've probably been outside all of 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And she's having a total fucking mental breakdown. I do not like outside. I do not like outside at all. And you can see Logan looking at her like, yeah, no, this is no picnic. this isn't fun. But I got a job to do. Because at that point, he is still on to destroy Sanctuary. He still thinks he's going to be able to get his time back.
Mm-hmm.
I think where his mind changes is after he meets the old man. Whenever he starts,
because he realizes, oh my God, you can live past 30.
Yeah,
it's almost like
you don't have to die so early. You don't have, and I think that's where that's when he's decided.
Finally clicks. Yes,
that's when he's decided. I have to go back. I have to tell these people that they don't have to die. They don't have to do this. You know, you don't have to be what you are. There's an actual world out here.
Yeah.
Their blinking light has stopped. It's crystal. He's like, I can just show him this. And she's looking at him going, they're going to kill you. Mm-hmm. She's smart enough to go, no, they're going to kill you. They will kill you.
Yeah. She was smart. He got lucky. They got very lucky because they do go back. And I thought this was
a lot.
I thought this was great. We had to rely on what would happen when the AI controlled city, when the AI itself was faced with, it had its facts. A computer can only deal in facts. Mm-hmm. And when it was presented with the obvious truth through basically torture, they extracted the truth out of Logan and saw that their facts were wrong. The AI self-destructed and basically took the whole city down. It couldn't take it.
Yeah, it was trying to force him to admit something that it could accept, and he wasn't going to, because it gets into his subconscious.
Yeah, they pull his memories out, his thoughts, everything he's seen, and it sees that this is not what I'm programmed. This doesn't work. So it's like dividing by zero or something. It just
I like on his way out, he just starts shooting his gun. I know. He's shooting all the computers like, this is the main hub. Bang, bang, bang. He's just taking everything out as he's running. Like, come on, baby, we gotta go. That's freaking great.
And, once people come out and they see the old man, it changes.
Yeah, everybody's just like, what the hell is that?
And they realize their whole worldview, everything has now changed in that one brief moment. This movie's deep, man. It's a good one.
I do want to talk about Francis.
Let's talk about Francis.
Francis, whenever he finally catches up to them in Washington, D.C., he's manic. He's his best friend has just, in his opinion,
Betrayed him
betrayed him,
and
betrayed
everybody else.
everything that they believe in, everything they've
Mm.
been defending all these years. Francis can't comprehend why. And
Yeah,
when he tries to tell him why,
it one
Francis
doesn't
is like,
matter.
no, 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 it's her fault. It's the girl's fault, you know? And the girl's like, it ain't my fault, pal. I was just helping him get out of the building. But Francis is told by Logan, look at your hand. Look at the crystal on your hand. It's white. It's pure. You don't, you've been. He's telling him you've been renewed.
Yeah.
You don't have to do this anymore. And that actor, he looks at his hand, and you just see his eyes. There's like this madness. He's already kind of crazy because his worldview of his friend and everything he's believed in, just being outside, I'm sure didn't help him, with his
Oh no.
worldview at all.
Oh, I mean that everything. Yeah.
Yeah, and then he looks at the crystal, and that's the breaking point. Whereas if you're strong enough and you're an open mind, when Logan looked at that, he was like, "Oh, wow, we're off. We're turned off."
Yeah.
That doesn't mean anything. Francis looked at it, and it destroyed him. He went mad, and he attacks the girl. He attacks Logan, and he's going after
He's.
Logan with his hands like a girl fight. Like
Mhm.
he's crazed. He's just gone totally insane. And this actor Jordan plays it so freaking well.
Yes, he
He's
does.
just so good. And against Michael York and the two of them being friends, and you see the friendship. You just see how close they were. And then one man's journey towards madness makes him sane, and another man's journey out of his sanity making him more mad. It's like the
Yeah.
same fucking journey, and two guys react completely differently. When
Two
you
people
start
brought up
looking at
exactly the same. It's really interesting.
yes, it's just crazy. It is absolutely, to quote Travis, it's crazy. It's just
It just don't
crazy.
make sense.
Just don't make sense. But when you see, like, okay, these two guys were basically the exact same. They thought the same, all
They
the
were
way down the
programmed.
line.
They were programmed to be
Yeah.
Sandmen. So yeah,
And one actually gets his sanity, and the other one loses it. And they had the same effing journey, just about.
it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
There's a lot, like I said, this is, and you mentioning that again brings me back to holy crap, something else to think about in this movie. It's like, damn,
Yeah.
this movie has got layers. It's deep. It's such a well-written story. I was not prepared for such an awesome, awesome movie.
It's so good.
That is my take. You have to see. It is a must see. 1976, Logan's Run, dystopian sci-fi action
Right.
thriller. Love it, love it, love it. Dave, what's your take?
I just want to, before I give you my take on it, this movie is based on I think it's a trilogy of novels by Anderson, but the books are nothing like this movie.
Really?
The city's not domed, and I've only read about the books. I haven't read them yet, but I
Okay.
have read about them and what they have. And I think you die at 20. Yeah, you die at 20. They kill you at 20, not 30. And I think they upped the age because you get a bigger choice of actors to
Yeah.
to make your movie. You get a bigger choice of better actors to make your movie. They probably put it in a dome city because they were like, well, yeah, none of this other shit would really make sense. How would why would you be scared if you're already outside, kind of thing. So that made sense. But I just thought it was really interesting that the book and the movie were so far apart
Wow.
from each other. There is a goof. I like to read little goofs.
Yes.
Jessica's panties keep changing from light to dark green. In one scene, they appear to be beige. And they do. I have seen little notes like this about this show, and I always look for stupid little things. That's one little note. On the outside, when the little old man and everybody's coming around him in the big crowd, there is somebody holding up their hands with.
No, they're not.
Yes. with the live long and prosper and the
Oh,
Hebrew and the Vulcan symbol. and, and I remember seeing that one time, and I was like, "Did I just see somebody?" And I
oh
rewound. I'm
my
like, "Sure as
God.
shit did." And then it's written down someplace. I remember reading about it. I know they had a pretty good budget for this movie. They really did, and the score, the musical score to this is very 70s electro pop, but
It's
it
got a
fits
lot of
perfectly. That
synthesizers to it. Yeah.
that opening.
It's damn near a John Carpenter soundtrack.
Yes, yes, yeah,
Damn
perfect. I
near.
could.
It's like, oh, wait a minute.
I'm sitting there listening to this, going, "Man, who does that?" But I think it's Goldman did the
Yeah.
music.
Yeah. It clearly isn't Carpenter, but it did
No,
remind me of
but it
his
has that,
style. Yeah.
and it's such a good. And when they're in the city, when they're leaving the city, that background weird synthy pop sound is good. But for me, man, this is one of my favorite. This is one of my go-tos. I also recommend, if you can find it, I don't even know if they still sell it, Logan's Run, the television series.
Ah,
If you get a chance to watch it, it used to be on Tubi. I don't know if it still is. I'll
yeah.
have to look. There's a episode where instead of Logan being, I think he talks to the computer first, but somehow he gets pulled upstairs basically.
Hmm.
And when he's in this big meeting room, he's like, "What the hell's going on? What am?" And the doors open up, and there's like 4 or 6 old people sitting behind this desk, and they're the ones who run everything. And he's like, how are you guys here?" And they're like, "Well, basically, they don't want to change their society. So Logan, you got to go destroy Sanctuary. You got to go find it." So that's how the series starts.
Interesting.
So I was like, "Wow, that's actually."
That's a neat take.
Yeah, they didn't change it that much. It's like he talks to the computer first, I think, and then
Mm.
because he's like, "I'm not going to listen to a computer," kind of thing. "I'm not going to go kill a bunch of people over a computer," kind of thing. They wind up pulling him upstairs, and he's like, "Well, how does anybody not know about you?" He's like, "Did you? Did you know about us?" He's like, "Well, no." They're like, "There you go." That's how.
Interesting.
And
Interesting.
I think
Because
what they were trying to bribe him with was, "You will have a seat on this council if you do what you need to do." And he's just like, "Oh," he's still a Sandman. He's like, "Okay, I'm going to go
yeah,
marching
he's
out
still
the
going to
door."
do what he's. Because I was watching this and I was thinking the same thing, that it would be really cool if this was a series, because there's a lot of storytelling and a lot of
Yeah,
world building here. A lot.
yeah.
So
It's a cheapy series, but it works.
mm,
I'll have to say, like, I enjoy the series. I would love to have seen it in a mini series, like redone now. Like if somebody
mhm.
was like, "Okay, we're gonna do Logan's Run after the city falls. Like, what happens to Logan after this?" Or just take
A
the
mini
concept,
series would
the
work
original
really well.
series,
Yeah.
and move with it. But you'd have to have I mean, you really have to follow the heart and soul of this story. And I
Mm,
don't know if there's anybody out there willing to do it now.
yeah.
So that's the only reason I don't want to see it now.
It
20
doesn't.
years
It doesn't
maybe.
need it. Yeah. It could happen if the right people. It could happen.
But I
So
say, folks, if you like sci-fi, if you
this is
like
good.
drama, if you like um, esoteric, because there are a lot of layers to this. Like you
Oh
said,
my
Scott, there's a
God.
lot of
This
stuff
is
going
such
on.
an allegory for pick your poison. My God.
Yeah, yeah. I do recommend it. It's enjoyable. Um, Probably one of the first things I ever saw Michael York in.
Mm.
And Gutter, she's adorable, and she's been in all sorts of stuff. I don't know if her career is still going on, but she's beautiful and she's a good actress. She pulls this part off really well.
Mhm.
Richard Jordan was lost in, I think, 2000. I think he passed away of a brain tumor.
Yeah.
I was getting him mixed up with another actor, from Alias Smith and Jones, an old series from television. And I thought he was the guy, and I was like, "Yeah, too bad he committed suicide." And I was like, "Huh, let me look him up." But he did not commit suicide.
Ah.
I was very relieved on one hand, and then very sad on the other. How you find out. And Roscoe Lee Brown as Box, Should have been a better costume, but man, you couldn't have got a better voice and a better
Yeah,
guy.
voice is great.
The smile. If anybody ever gets a chance to see him in anything, if you can find him, watch him, because when he smiles, it is freaking infectious. Like you just want to be the guy's friend. You're like, I want to talk to you. But yes, absolutely watch this movie. It's great. I would say this is probably one of my top 10.
I can definitely see that.
Absolutely.
I love it. I love it. It's definitely worth a watch. So if you like our show, folks, please hit the like, hit the share, hit the subscribe, and come join us again and drop us a line. Tell us what you like, what you don't like, what you want to hear, what you don't want to hear or see, and we will catch you next week. We're staying in the 70s, so stay tuned.
Yes.